wanna die anyway. I wanna be remembered that way. Death.
It's very difficult for me to talk about when my grandfather's time will come, but when my grandfather's time eventually 20, 50 years from now comes, I want to make sure that this one of a kind human being is remembered for the general, for the leader, for the man, for the human, for the husband, the father, the grandfather that he is.
I know. On another note, I know that the stories of my ancestors are flowing through me. I look like my grandfather. I speak like my grandmother. I dance like my maternal grandmother. It's all in me, but I wish I knew exactly. I wish I knew specifically who they were. So I think it's a great idea, and I think it's actually necessary.
I recently feel like I lost all of my grandparents all in one go. And I feel like I didn't really know them as individuals. I didn't know their life story, their history, what they were like when they were younger. It's a funny thing because like as you get older, you realize your parents are people. You realize your grandparents are people. And you stop looking at them as mom and dad and grandma and grandpa. I mean, they'll always have that kind of subtitle in the back of your mind, but you realize like, wow, these are individuals who have had their own lives and made their own mistakes and have had their own achievements. And it all feels like too little too late now. I never got to ask them those questions. And that makes me really sad, not knowing who my family was. Yeah. She was just grandma. Like, that's it. I would have loved to know more than just grandma.
I wouldn't want them to be sad. I want them to kind of be a little bit inspired and maybe even laugh. As you can tell, I might have a little bit of a sense of humor when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, right, Dad? It's your fault. They say that a person doesn't really die until the last person they've known has forgotten them. And I think a lot of us, want to have a legacy like that to be able to pass down, not out of just because it's important family history, if nothing else. I've done. It sounds very self-serving, but I think I've done a lot of very cool things in my life, and I know my grandfather did, and my dad did, and I would have loved to have, especially as I got older, been able to speak to my grandfather and say more and more about what he did and what he accomplished in his life, and be able to appreciate that. Before my grandfather, my great grandparents and all that, all I have are pictures. And wouldn't it be so freaking cool to be able to have a video of them, talking about what they did and actually hearing their voice would blow me away. So, yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Of course, we all want to be remembered in a specific way that is personal to us, that means something to us. I would like personally for the things that are most meaningful to me to be shared with the world once my day comes. The driving your own narrative portion of this idea of this project truly comes to life, right? Truly makes sense, makes absolute logical sense that everyone wants their story told their way. Nobody wants their story to be told in a way that is potentially inaccurate, right? Imagine if your time comes and then it's somebody else's job to tell the story of you but it's only about 80% accurate because they were missing information, and 20% of what will be said about you, things that you will never have control over, are just wrong. And then people ultimately have the wrong memory of you. I know that on, like, for me, that would upset me. Small words. Marketing mind, advertising mind, if you have this much empathy in what your fellow human being needs and feels, I hope you understand how, pardon my Spanish, how fucking cool of an idea this is.
Everyone wants to live forever, but nobody wants to die, right? Yeah, I hope that's not what we're doing right now, is starting this video. But beyond that, no. I think it's a great idea.
I think the greatest inheritance that anyone can get is legacy, an understanding of who they are by understanding who their family is. There's so much I don't know about my mother, my father, even less I know about my grandfather and grandmother, even less about you understand? And so as a comprehensive service, I think it would be a great, brilliant, a gift to have like a legacy video, I guess, or a legacy oriented product where maybe every 5 years a compilation is made and stories are collected about these beautiful people in our lives. Because if we're lucky and we do well, my kids will grow up and they'll have their own kids, and they'll have this thing that'll give them strength. They'll have stories from their parents' and grandparents' lives that will give them strength and give them context and a reason to believe that they can actually do anything that they put their minds to, because we've overcome specific trials and tribulations. We've triumphed in our own different ways, and to not have access to that is impoverishing, I think. So first of all, I think it's a great idea. I'm personally terrified to ask my aunt, who's terminal, to capture her story, to ask her questions on tape, because she has a grandchild, and I know that the grandchild would love it. I know that her daughters would love it or appreciate it, a memory of their mother from her own words about her own story. I'm terrified to do it though. So it would be such a gift, an easy decision for me to go like, yo, could you do this for me? So I think it's a great idea for a service.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Sellinger, and I just wanted to give you a little background and a little brief description as to how I ended up in this field and with this idea. It all began when my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. She was placed in palliative care and was in palliative care at the Jewish General in Montreal, Quebec, Canada for over a year. And towards the last leg and the last stretch, I would get into bed with her and I would be filming all of her stories, and I would be asking her questions, and I tried to capture her essence on camera. And I remember my family just saying, Jen, can you just put the camera down? Can you just live in the moment? Why do you keep filming everything? And this is before I went into visual journalism. And I just said, I just want to capture grandma. I just want to have my grandmother live forever. I just want to be able to remember my grandmother. And they said, well, she's always going to be with you, Jen. She'll always be in your heart. And it was from that moment that I realized that's not enough.
We're all gonna die anyway.